A relief pitcher named Monty plays for the Hackensack Bulls, a team in the minor league. They aren't very popular because they don't play very well, to the point that their field has tracks and they have to pause the match every time a train passes through. One day, Monty tells his best friend and catcher Spike that there's a man in the audience taking pictures of him. His name is Donaldo and he did the same in the last 3 games, so Monty thinks he may be recruited to the big league soon. However, Spike thinks Monty is hoping for too much. The Bulls miraculously win the game, so the team goes to a bar to celebrate. Monty and Spike find 2 women who enjoyed the game and flirt with them, intending to take them home. Outside, Donaldo is calling his boss to inform him of Monty's movements. It turns out he's been following him around for days. At that moment the women's boyfriends arrive and get very angry when they find them with Monty and Spike. An argument ensues and part of the crowd leaves, sensing that things will escalate. A woman even calls the police in advance. As predicted, the boyfriends and the baseball players get in a fight, throwing punches left and right. Some people enjoy the action and others even get involved. Fighters are thrown on tables and chairs are used as weapons. The next morning, Monty and Spike are still in jail for the fight. Their coach Charlie comes to inform them that the team's administration won't pay for their bail. The duo is worried about missing the last game of the season, but Charlie explains the higher-ups don't care about them anymore. They plan to hire younger players to renew the team. Charlie points out that Monty got to play for 15 years and that's more than the average person gets, so he should be grateful. A few hours later, the duo is taken to the courtroom, where they're charged with multiple things, like assault and destruction of property. The guys swear they're innocent and even argue with the judge, who gets annoyed and sets the bail at $3,000. Since they don't have money, they're about to be sent back to their cell, but the moment is interrupted by Donaldo. He explains he represents an anonymous party that will pay for the bail and fines as long as the duo pleads guilty. Still thinking that Donaldo is a scout, Monty happily takes the deal. Afterward, Donaldo takes the guys to New York. Spike freaks out when they enter a corporate building and thinks Donaldo is an undercover cop trying to trick them with the scout story. Donaldo points out that he never told them he was a scout and explains that he was hired by a law firm. The group enters a fancy office and Monty is taken to see the lawyers in private. They represent Monty's great-uncle Rupert, who had a big argument with the family in the 30s. He disappeared after that fight and nobody ever heard of him again. It turns out that Rupert became one of the richest men in the country, and since he died last month, Monty is now the sole living heir. However, the will has some special conditions. The lawyers then play a recording that Rupert left for his heir. Monty is shocked to see that his uncle is white, but Rupert predicted this and explains that his father had 2 wives, one white, one black. He's very disappointed in Monty for being a failure, and shares the story of how his own dad punished him as a kid. That's why he'll punish Monty the same way, by making him hate spending money. If Monty wants to get his uncle's huge fortune, he must complete a challenge. He has 30 days to spend $30 million, but there are some rules. After the 30 days are over, he mustn't own any assets except for the clothes on his back, and he isn't allowed to destroy anything he buys just to get rid of it. He can hire anybody he wants, but he must get value for their services. Only 5% can be given to charity and only 5% can be gambled away. None of the money can be given away, which includes buying presents. Lastly, he can't tell anybody about the challenge, because that's instant disqualification. If Monty thinks he can't do it, he can take $1 million now and leave. The lawyers already have the $1 million ready in a suitcase and point out that Monty doesn't know how to handle money, so they advise him not to accept the challenge. He wonders what will happen to his uncle's fortune if he doesn't get it and learns that it will be handled by the law firm. Monty hesitates, but in the end he chooses to try to win the fortune. He must be back in 30 days at midnight with nothing on his name except the clothes on his back, and an employee named Angela will keep track of his expenses to make sure he isn't cheating or lying. On his way out, Monty only tells Spike he's inherited $30 million and hires Donaldo as his personal photographer. They go to the bank so Monty can see that the money is real and immediately takes $3 million out in cash. The bank manager offers some services that would allow him to earn interest, but Monty asks for an account with no interest at all. This upsets Angela, who doesn't know the truth. Then Monty asks the security guard how much he earns and offers a much bigger salary for him to become his personal bodyguard. In fact, he ends up hiring the entire security team to follow him around, since he'll be carrying lots of money. Spike is upset that his friend is spending all this so carelessly, but Monty assures him he has a plan. Next, Monty calls Charlie and tells him he's going to rent the team, promising to get new uniforms, a better bus, and better salaries. Charlie doesn't believe him and hangs up. Then Monty stops a random cab and hires the driver to be his personal chauffeur for the month. Angela points out that he could hire a whole fleet of limousines for that money, so Monty tells the driver to do that. A crowd is already gathering around Monty and his group, so he invites them all to lunch. They go to a very fancy restaurant and buy the most expensive wine. They also make the musicians play more upbeat songs instead of classical music. During the meal, Monty keeps flirting with Angela, who reveals she has a fiancé. He's a lawyer involved in lots of charity work and social causes, so he doesn't often have time for Angela. When Monty asks to meet him and promises to pay for his time, Angela tells him he can't buy everything. The news of an eccentric millionaire wandering the city quickly spread, so when Monty goes to a hotel, reporters are waiting. He tells them he plans to hire lots of people and announces that Spike is the vice president of his new corporation. Inside the hotel, the manager tells him that the top 2 floors are already reserved, but he quickly changes his mind when Montgomery offers to pay 10 times his current price. The group takes over the fancy rooms and Monty and Spike rent some nice suits. In the evening, Angela's fiancé Warren comes to pick her up, so Monty uses the chance to donate money to one of his charities. Warren is very impressed by the art and furniture in the room, expressing vast knowledge on the subject. Monty is impressed and wants to hire Warren to be his decorator, offering a very nice salary. Warren immediately accepts and disappoints Angela, who can't believe her fiancé can be bought so easily. The next morning, Warren asks his bosses at the law firm to let him take just 1 month off. The lawyers agree in exchange for Warren becoming their spy so they can monitor how Monty is handling the money. Warren isn't allowed to share this with Angela. Meanwhile, Monty has filled his office with hundreds of people hired to do all sorts of tasks, including an impersonator. Warren has called his ex-wife Marilyn since she's the professional decorator who taught him everything. This angers Angela. Monty tries to get her attention by poking an inappropriate spot, and when Warren tries to warn her, he ends up slipping and falling on all the paint buckets. Marilyn has tons of ideas and Monty tells her there's money to achieve them all. A man asks Monty for $3 million to get an iceberg from the North Pole to Africa to give people fresh water, and Monty approves that too while ignoring Spike's and Angela's concerns over being a scam. Monty also hires a man to use the permitted 5% to bet on horses and sports. At that moment, Charlie calls and Monty announces that he'll pay for his team to play against the Yankees. He even sends out helicopters to pick up his teammates. Outside the stadium, Monty waits for his friends with a whole welcome party and he's happy to see them wear the new uniforms. He's even rented penthouses for everyone. The lawyers watch all this and wonder if they've underestimated him. Afterward, Monty puts on the uniform too and trains with his team while the news announces the big upcoming game. In the evening, Monty brings a woman to the hotel, but when they're about to do the dirty, they're interrupted by a call from Angela, saying they have to discuss something extremely important and urgent. Monty has no choice but to kick the woman out. Then Spike and Angela come to the room with a financial advisor, hoping he'll help Monty invest. However, Monty hires him on a salary instead of commissions and plans to ignore all his advice. Spike and Monty choose to relax by playing some baseball, and Spike uses the chance to tell Monty he should invest in things like jewelry or stamps. This gives Monty an idea, so he rushes to a collector's shop and buys the most expensive stamp in history. The next morning, the lawyers see this on the news and laugh because Monty has bought an asset. However, they receive a postcard from Monty and are furious to discover he used the expensive stamp to send it. They decide to tell Warren the truth about the challenge and ask him to create an error in Angela's accounting, promising a good reward if the law firm wins the money. Later, Monty watches the news and learns that his stocks in the iceberg company have tripled, thanks to his investment. Worried about the new money, Monty tells his employees to sell it all. To make matters worse, the gambler has won all the bets too. Monty panics and tells Angela to donate it all to charity. Marilyn is done with the decoration and has added lots of things to the room, but Monty asks her to do even more. Since Warren is so busy helping her, Angela agrees to have lunch with Monty, saying she's impressed by a man who is happy to donate so much. When they're about to leave, a man accidentally hits their car from behind. The damage is minimal, but Monty wants to take the guy to the hospital just to pay for a medical service. When the man realizes who this is, he pretends he's been severely hurt by the accident, and Monty even gives him money so he can pay alimony to his 2 ex-wives. Angela freaks out and starts yelling at Monty on the street, calling him out for his choices. Warren watches this from the window while Marilyn tells him that Angela may not be a good partner after all, since she's embarrassing herself in public. During dinner at a restaurant, Warren tells Angela that she's been too friendly with Monty and wonders if her feelings for him have changed, which angers her and causes her to leave. On the news, a reporter talks about Monty buying 5 cases of 114-year-old wine in cash at an auction house. He opened the bottles at a reception for the public to share the wine with everyone. Sometime later, Spike and the financial advisor announced that they did some investments behind his back and made $10 million. Monty freaks out and the others wonder what's wrong with him. They're interrupted by Warren, who asks for $20,000 for a deposit on some furniture they'll be renting. Monty gives him the money and sends everyone away to have some alone time. When Monty turns on the TV, he learns that the candidates for the next mayor's elections have been spending scandalous amounts of money on their campaigns. Monty decides to also become a candidate to spend all the money on his own campaign. Angela thinks he must feel guilty about having so much money and is finally using it to help society. During a conference, Monty tells the reporters that people shouldn't vote for any of the candidates, not even himself. Later he appears on TV, saying that all candidates are bad people and only idiots would vote for them. He broadcasts his ads in all the states in case any New Yorkers are on vacation. His honesty about politicians' corruption makes him incredibly popular. Angela continues to keep up with the expenses and worries because the money is almost gone. The other 2 candidates meet in secret and agree they must do something about Monty, who continues to insult them on national TV. They sue him for emotional damage and Monty is happy to pay a $4 million fine. Eventually the day of the big game comes and Monty makes a pep talk, assuring his team that they can defeat the Yankees. Before the match starts, a train goes through the field with more ads for Monty's campaign. Monty is the first pitcher and his teammate manages to catch the ball, so they take out the first Yankee. When another batter steps up, Spike keeps taunting him and insulting his wife. The batter gets angry and almost starts a fight, so he's kicked out of the field. Meanwhile, Warren is at the furniture store and returns all the things he's rented, which gets him back the deposit money. Although the Bulls start the game offering a fair challenge, soon the Yankees turn the game in their favor. After a big home run, Charlie has no choice but to change pitchers. He tells Monty he did well and reminds him that these are the Yankees, so the fact that the Bulls scored a few points at all is enough for him to be proud of his team. Monty is still sad, so he goes to the changing room to sulk. He's then approached by the Will's executor, who informs him that if he wins the election he'll receive a salary, and that's considered an asset. The game ends with the Yankees winning and Monty makes a speech to congratulate them. He explains that anyone with money can buy an election, but becoming a professional athlete takes effort. Monty also withdraws from the election, pointing out that he didn't expect to win and that everyone missed the point. He doesn't have much money left, so he'll use it all to throw a party and everyone is invited. That night, Angela closes the books with a balance of 0. Monty comes to pick her up for the party, but Angela wants nothing to do with him. She's disgusted by the way he wasted so much money on nothing that matters. She rushes out and doesn't hear Monty say "I love you." At the party, Spike and the security guard check Donaldo's pockets and discover he's been stealing money. All of Monty's employees feel bad that he's broke and gather some money to help him, but he turns it down and Donaldo takes his cash back. The next day Monty wakes up in his bed with a killer hangover. The hotel manager comes to remind him it's time to check out and employees from various services are already taking out all the things he rented for the month, including his nice clothes. After putting on his old uniform, Monty checks the room that Marilyn finished and approves of it before everything is taken away. On his way out, the doorman tells Monty that he voted for nobody just like he asked. That night, the city is shocked to learn that nobody won the election because everyone followed Monty's advice. With only 5 minutes left before midnight, Monty goes to the lawyer's office. In the elevator he's approached by Warren, who gives him back the deposit money. After screaming in frustration, Monty tells the lawyers that he gives up and is ready to sign the papers to end this. Warren is watching everything through the window and is found by Angela, who wonders what is going on. Since he thinks it's over, Warren tells her everything. A furious Angela takes the ticket from him and rushes into the office to reveal the trap. She wants to slap Warren for his trick, but Monty stops her and punches him instead. Warren announces he will sue him for assault, so Monty asks Angela to be his lawyer and hires her using the deposit money. As the clock starts to strike 12, Angela quickly makes a receipt for her service, effectively leaving Monty broke right before the last second strikes. The executor of the will announces that Monty has won the challenge and the fortune is his. The man also announces he'll have to investigate the lawyers for fraud. Monty celebrates his victory and leaves with Angela, ready to start a new life. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.